Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our Career Booster webinar series here at Grantham University. Today, a part of the series, we're going to be talking about jobs you never knew you'd love. It's going to be a sales career roundtable where we've got some industry professionals here that joined us to talk about the potentials for sales. It's one of those careers that typically not a lot of folks think about as we're moving towards graduation and making those career steps, but it's one that you could have a lot of success in, both professionally and financially. And we're going to dig in a little bit and find out a little bit more about the sales profession. My name is Jeremy Bell, Career Services Manager here with Grantham University, and I'll be moderating the discussion today. And my contact information is here, so if you ever have any questions about anything we discussed today or any other career management or planning questions or issues, feel free to contact me directly. So some of the things that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about just why sales careers are valuable, the career potential within the sales profession, and the opportunities that are available. We're going to talk about the outlook and progression for those who enter this profession, and some of the skills and attributes needed for success. And then we're even going to discuss some of the challenges or pitfalls that come with sales and how to overcome them. So I'm going to introduce our panelists today, and each one is going to introduce themselves and give a little background and information about themselves and their industry. So we'll start with Sal Lavely with Prudential. Welcome, Sal.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sal Lavely. I have been in the financial services business for 37 years. It's a business that is very rewarding for people who want to help others improve their situation. And so we'll go through a lot more details as we go on.
Awesome. Also joining us, we have Samantha Marion with Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha, as Jeremy said. I've been a recruiter at Nebraska Furniture Mart for 8 years now. What I do is just review applications and interview and hire for all the sales staff at the Kansas City store. And Nebraska Furniture Mart's vision is based on our tradition of selling cheap and telling the truth. And by doing that, providing the greatest selection and service, we improve people's lifestyles.
Awesome. Thanks, Samantha. And also joining us today is Robb Murry with Chartwell, Kansas City Realty. Welcome, Robb.
Thanks for the invite, Jeremy. My name is Robb Murry. I am Vice President of Marketing with Chartwell, Kansas City Realty. We're a Kansas City-based residential real estate firm. We have about 200 agents across the metro area, and I work primarily with those agents, helping them service their clients and build their real estate businesses.
Awesome, thank you. And one other thing to note, throughout this presentation, if you have questions for a panelist or for myself, there is both a chat feature and a question feature located within the GoToWebinar software that you logged into. So feel free to enter those questions, and we will address those towards the end of the presentation. So let's get started. So our first question today is just we just want to know what career path looks like, or what the career path looks like for new sales employees, and how does one progress through the organization? And Sal, we'll start with you.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, this is an opportunity to own your own business, and with that, there's different ways that you can go about it. You can surely follow the management rank, which I've done, and I've been gracious enough to work with people all the way up to the CEO of the company. But having the opportunity to own your own business, you can bring other producers under your tutelage, obviously your own staff, and you have the opportunity to market under a DBA with your own specialty, if you will. And we'll talk a lot more about my firm and the specialties approach that we use. So you have your traditional managerial path, but you also have the entrepreneurial business ownership path.
Great. Samantha?
So at Nebraska Furniture Mart, there are two pretty clear career paths that you can choose. Some people that come to work for us genuinely just want to sell. It's what they enjoy. They love working one-on-one with the customers. So we have a lot of staff that do what's called cross-training, which is learning different departments within our division and being able to sell more than just the one department that you're a part of. So it just kind of expands your ability to sell within the store. And then we also have the management path. You know, our store director recently just got promoted to store director, started with us as a salesperson, you know, so a lot of our staff will also move that direction and kind of go the management path.
Great. So Rob, what about the real estate profession? What does the career path look like there?
The career path in residential real estate is, much like Sal said, is the opportunity really to be an entrepreneur. You're starting your own business, you'll be self-employed, and that can really look any way that you want it to. And of course, people see the real estate shows on TV, and they see the how they work, and that's about 50% correct. But it's very much that way, in that it's an independent, client-facing business. As far as looking at a brokerage and saying, you know, what I really want to do is become a manager, those are opportunities that are out there. But for the most part, what you're really doing in residential real estate is you're creating an entrepreneurial business, and the brokerage is really there in support of you and helping you build that business.
Right. So, as a lot of our participants that are viewing today are either completing their degree or moving towards or have already completed their degree, can you tell us what types of education or experience you would expect for someone coming into your organization? Samantha, what would you recommend there?
So coming into one of our sales positions at Nebraska Furniture Mart, the only education that we actually require is a high school diploma or a GED. So they would be eligible even if they didn't have their degree yet. And then as far as experience, we really just look for someone that's going to have the personality and that has some experience with kind of customer contact related positions and or actual sales experience. And then most of our management positions do require an associate's degree or higher.
Okay. And Rob, what would you say as far as the education experience for residential real estate? Rob? You lost Rob. Sal, what would you say as far as the education experience coming into Prudential?
Well, first of all, a lot of people think that you have to be an accounting or econ or finance major, but that's not the truth. We have pre-certification and licensing that has to be done prior to coming on board. Life and health license, the National Association of Security Bureaus license, and the local equivalent. And if a person's able to successfully pass those, they are more than competent to be able to learn the concepts and tools that we utilize to help our clients.
Okay. Rob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I dropped the call.
Okay. So, Rob, could you tell us from the real estate perspective, as far as the education experience, are there particular things that you would expect for new agents in your area?
Sure. We're looking for somebody who's successful in sales, whether it across the board is going to be a communicator. So we're looking for communication skills, folks that are coming in that have studied communication, that are natural communicators are great. Good attention to detail. You're really managing, in our business, you're managing a lot of different things from contracts to personal relationships. So we're really looking for somebody who enjoys sales, enjoys people, good communicators, great attention to detail. Never hurts to have some business background in there because you are very involved in the paperwork of what you're doing.
Right. So once we've got the new employees within the office, what can you give us as far as some of the expectations for those new employees within the first 6 months of employment? Sal, what would you say that they will experience during that early stage?
Well, obviously, there is a tremendous amount of training, but one of the concepts that we've utilized very successfully is a mentorship joint work culture, where everyone works on clients together, and as you understand the needs of the clients, additional specialists are brought in. But when I first started in the business, someone taught me that this business is about STP, and they didn't mean oil out of it. What they meant was we see people, we service people, we help, sell to people, and we continue to do that on an ongoing basis again, our biggest advantage is that we do it on a team approach.
Awesome. So Samantha, once you have new either retail sales or management folks at Nebraska Furniture Mart, what are some of the expectations for their early stages with the organization?
So in the first 6 months, on both sides, they would go through kind of a couple-week initial training course. They're going to learn kind of just the company, the processes, learning expectations with Nebraska Furniture Mart, that kind of thing. And then after that, it's just developing a customer base and asking questions they might have, getting comfortable with the actual sales process within Nebraska Furniture Mart. And then for anyone that might not necessarily have the product knowledge, that 6 months is going to be critical in building up that product knowledge and really learning what they're selling so that they can know what they're talking about when they're talking to customers.
So Rob, what would you say as far as the new agents within real estate?
For a new agent in real estate, again, because you're starting your own business and you're really, we as a brokerage are working in support of you, you need to really be prepared to go through and not necessarily have an income right away. So have some reserve set aside for yourself financially to get yourself up and running. The first 90 days in real estate is usually a fairly tough time. During those first 90 days, what we do is we help you get up and started. We'll go through a mentor program. We'll introduce you to the other agents in the office. Often a new agent will partner up with an experienced agent and help them in support of what they're doing for a while as they learn the business.
All right, so let's talk earnings potential. So Samantha, could you talk a little bit about some of the expected earnings potential within the retail business?
Absolutely. So we actually have 3 different levels of sales within Nebraska Furniture Mart. So one of them is just a straight hourly pay, and that's $11.28 an hour. We also have what we call base plus commission positions, which have a base hourly pay plus commission due on top of that. And then the majority of our positions are 100% commission. Now, we do offer kind of a training pay, so you're not ever making nothing during that time period. But during that first year, an average salesperson, a commissioned salesperson, is going to make somewhere between $45,000 and $60,000. And then after that first year, typically the sky's the limit. We have one sales person in our Kansas City location that's currently making $139,000.
That's impressive. So Rob, what would you say as far as earnings potentials within real estate?
Earnings potential in real estate, an average agent, just industry-wide that starts out in real estate, and this certainly holds true in Kansas City as well, an agent in their first year is going to make about $40,000 a year. And then after that, again, it's a sales position, and that's the awesome thing about a sales career is that the control really comes back to you. So what you want to do and how you want to build that business, it's pretty common for an agent to make over 100,000. I think, you know, they certainly get up into the hundreds of thousands as you build a substantial real estate business.
Okay, great. So, Sal, going into financial services or within Prudential, what are some of the earnings potentials in that area?
Well, in our office, in a teaming concept, in the 3 years that I've been back in town to build the office, because of the mentorship and the joint work with specialists, our average case size seems to be higher than traditionally new associates. So we've run between 72,000 on the low side and 134 on the top side. And but that particular gentleman is in his 3rd year, and he'll probably do over $250,000 this year. But it's because of the business model of teaming and because of the effort put in.
Okay, so what, as far as you know, with sales, you definitely have to perform. So what are some of the characteristics that would be expected of high performers within your industry? Sal, we'll continue with you. What would you say as far as that's concerned?
Well, first of all, I keep stressing that this is entrepreneurial opportunity, own your own business. So it has to be an individual who doesn't need others to guide and supervise them. Someone who is, you could classify as a self-starter. someone who has a lot of drive, determination, has great communication skills, and has good organizational skills to keep them on task, because as you continue to work with clients, there are so many moving parts. And, as you continue to build a book of business, there are so many additional things that people need as the time goes on that, meeting with them on a minimal annual basis is important. So, it's those types of intrinsics. If you're looking to be your own boss, you are looking to build something larger than yourself, those are the kind of qualities that lead to a very successful person. But self-discipline is critically important.
So, Samantha, what would you say to that as far as your organization is concerned?
I think some of them are actually very similar. A successful salesperson at Nebraska Furniture Mart is going to be someone that's outgoing, has the personality to interact with a variety of different kinds of customers, and also someone that's driven and that wants to actually, hit the ground and try to interact with as many customers as they can. A lot of what sales is about building up customer relationships, as well as being genuinely friendly, and people buy from who they like.
You hear that a lot. Rob, what would you say as far as some of the competencies of some of your most successful performers?
Well, I think the most successful performers are the ones that do the activities and they do them consistently. I heard something recently that I absolutely believe, and that is when you get into real estate, because you are your own boss, the person said you're about ready to have the worst boss you've ever had in your entire life. It's you. And that's really it when you get into real estate, because it's specifically about how much you'll commit to it, how much time you'll commit to it, how much you'll continue to get up and get dressed and show up and do the things that you need to do to build your business, opposed to giving yourself the morning off and staying home in your pajamas. So number one is going to be just staying committed to doing those activities and continuing to work your business. And the same with what Sal and Samantha have said. It's part of it is certainly your people skills and being out there and being in front of people consistently. The more you're out there, the more business you're going to get and the more success you're going to find in any sales career.
So you're going to get as much as you get out of it what you're putting into it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, Rob, I'll continue with you. So, as far as when going into real estate, I know there is a learning curve there. So, is there any other formal training or coaching opportunities that are available to help someone within this field in order to be successful?
Sure. I mean, the first formal training that you'll go through would be to attend a real estate school, and that can be an online program. That can be an actual class that you go to where you prepare yourself for your actual licensing, and that's where you learn contracts. That's where you learn real estate law, the things specific to real estate, where what they've done prior to this is prepare themselves to be in a business environment and as a communicator and that sort of thing. So first would be to get your license in real estate, and those are done by state. So you license in each state depending on where you practice. Here we're in Kansas and Missouri, so you end up licensing and keeping your license active in both states. As far as once you get your license, when you affiliate with a brokerage, and there are several to choose from, when you affiliate with a brokerage and you find one that one of the things you definitely want to visit with that brokerage about is how they help new agents start a business and how they help agents build that business. And that can be in our particular business model here at Chartwell, we spend a lot of time in one-on-one mentoring. We spend a lot of time in coaching with agents, and some have classes. So you kind of find that brokerage that has a program, but all of them will have a program for a new agent that comes in that goes over a course of about 6 or 8 weeks. That gets you up and running, and you learn the basics of what you should be doing every day and the things that you should be doing to build that business.
Awesome, great. And Sal, I know you mentioned before that Prudential also takes a very team approach with your processes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the training and coaching that you offer with Prudential?
Yeah, it's just like Rob. There are, as I said earlier, there are licenses that need to be obtained before. Once you obtain the license, though, our approach is threefold. Number one, there's a very structured 2-year program because we want to expose an individual to everything in the marketplace, allowing them the opportunity to grow into a specialist in something they have a passion and enjoy in. They're going to be doing self-study, computer-based training on an ongoing basis. I mean, I just took a class yesterday. And then we have the classroom training, but one of the things we pride ourselves with because of the mentorship and the joint work model is that what you're learning in the classroom and what you're learning on the self-study, you're actually seeing somebody, demonstrate that out in the field. So you get real-time experience. And, that adds to the growth and success of the team that we have.
Awesome. So Samantha, could you speak to the training and coaching opportunities for Nebraska Furniture Mart?
Absolutely. We offer a very detailed training process during that first 2 weeks on the job. So you're going to be learning a lot about our company and how to look up inventory in our system, processing orders, that kind of thing. If you've shopped at Nebraska Furniture Mart recently, we do have a tablet system. So a lot of that initial time period is learning that system and how to use it, as well as a lot of product training. After that initial 2 weeks with human resources, you're going to be doing ongoing e-learnings and vendor trainings to maintain the product knowledge that you've learned about whichever department you're in.
Great. All right, so let's, and Samantha, I'll continue with you, So could you walk us through a typical day with Nebraska Furniture Mart for the folks on your floor?
Sure. There's typically a quick meeting at the beginning of your shift to go over promotions offered that day, specials going on. You're going to think about it like being a business within a business. You're conducting order management and follow-up throughout the day. There's a lot of independence to work with the customers as they walk in and build those quality relationships that are going to then turn them into repeat customers. So we provide you the tools and set you up to succeed, and it's your job to run with those tools and set your own level of success.
Great. So Rob, what about the agents that you work with? What's a typical day like for a real estate agent?
A typical day is going to, you'll get up in the morning, you'll go in and generally look at what's new on market, find out what homes have come on, what homes have come off. Certainly there are areas that you have specific interest in, and so you'll continue to build your knowledge there. After that, it's really about getting appointments. It's getting in front of people, having the opportunity to show and sell houses. So once you get that product knowledge down and you understand and you're doing the research, and then generally about midday, late afternoon is kind of when you get locked into doing the paperwork and following up on your contracts, preparing files for audit, doing the certainly less sexy part of real estate, but you do spend quite a bit of time doing that, a couple hours a day usually.
Yeah. So Sal, could you walk us through a typical day at your firm?
Yeah, we use what we refer to as a model work week, and because of the joint work effort, we have 3 days dedicated to being out in the field working directly face-to-face interviews with clients, and that's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. On Mondays and Fridays, where we do a tremendous amount of training and collaboration on behalf of the clients that we're working for. And so, the day is going to be spent based on the hours that you need, whether you're doing case preparation or in a training class or out in the field. Since you're setting up your own hours, you could have hours where, you're doing nothing. And one of my associates today is, a chaperone for one of his children's field trips. He doesn't have to ask permission, and for that, that's his business. So he chose not to work today. But he may have decided to work with somebody at 7 o'clock last night. So it's got a lot of autonomy and flexibility, but, the structure of Mondays and Fridays collaborating, training, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday being out seeing people is pretty much the schedule we work.
Right. So we've talked about some of the benefits and some of the training and things. So let's talk about some of the challenges. So Sal, could you walk us through maybe some of the potential challenges or pitfalls sales folks within your profession may face and how they overcome them?
Okay, thanks for the question. I want to start off with the testing. The security exams are designed to have at least a 35% failure rate. And we tell the people that going into it. I do a tremendous amount of coaching and helping people be ready. I monitor what their scores are versus what they do on their finals, so I can help future people, be in a position to pass. The secondary thing is that, we're talking about a sales career. To be real frank, this business, especially in the earlier years, is much more about marketing and developing venues to allow yourself to be in front of more and more people. That way, you're never feeling like you're trying to sell anything. If you're in front of more and more people, the ones who need help and want to take action, we're there for. So, it's definitely an opportunity to market in many, many venues, and we specify a number of ongoing venues all at one time. Most of my associates are involved in anywhere between 3 to 5 different ways that they consistently work on marketing.
So Rob, could you enlighten us on any potential challenges that your agents might face and how they handle those?
Well, there are a couple, and there are going to be things that are really pretty typical of sales when you're in a commission only type of situation. One is that residential real estate, interestingly enough, is somewhat seasonal, and then it's cyclical as well. There are times like right now that the real estate market is incredibly busy, and there are times that it is not. So, one of the challenges that salespeople do face is getting used to planning ahead. Like I said, it takes a while to get up and running, and you should really have some money savings when you get started. And the second part of that is that you really have to plan ahead financially, because this is a business and it is somewhat seasonal. So you don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You get one when you have properties that close. So planning your own personal cash flow and planning your own personal income is an important part of what you do, because you will have times where you're making awesome amounts of money, and then there are times that you're not as much, and you need to be prepared for that and plan for those times.
So Samantha, what would you say to that?
I'd say the most challenging part about working at Nebraska Furniture Mart is the commitment to working weekends. Our sales positions do require that you be able to work both Saturday and Sunday. Being a retail environment, that's when we're the busiest. But typically, people overcome that by just participating in their first few weekends. Once someone has started with us and starts building up that customer base, they realize that weekends are a gold mine for our sales staff. It's when customers are typically shopping, so it's when they're going to make the most money. And then I'd say kind of a secondary challenge is just staying productive during the slower times of the week. Like I said, weekends are crazy. During the week, sometimes has some more slower times. The sales staff can get bored and complacent during the week because there's slower foot traffic. And a lot of times our sales staff overcome that by staying positive and looking at the bigger picture as far as their overall sales numbers.
So it's a lot of great information that we've shared today. So I'll ask each of you if there's any other words of wisdom that you would give to someone who's either finishing their education or just recently finished their education that may be considering sales as a possible profession. Rob, I'll start with you.
I think it is the final word of wisdom that I would have would be don't discount a sales career. I think that it's easy for people to go, oh, I would rather look at management, or I'd rather look at something that's more secure or more stable. And I will say, having been in sales literally my entire career, that there's nothing that you'll be in more control of than you will be in a sales career, because you're immediately rewarded for what you produce, and you're really in control of that. So sales is a great opportunity, whether it's real estate or whether it's in something else. It's an opportunity that's certainly worth checking out.
Great. So Samantha, what words would you add to that?
I think that what he said was perfect. I think very similar, that it's about knowing that sales is a truly professional career. It might be a little scary at the beginning, but the ability to be able to get rewarded for the effort that you put into the job is rare in the work field nowadays. You know, so you really do get compensated for the effort that you put in.
I agree. Sal, any words that you would add, as far any parting words of wisdom you would add for the sales potential?
I think that my other panelists said it very well. The only possible way for me to add is when I first decided to go into a career in selling, someone made a point to me, says, you know, we're all selling every day, whether we're selling an idea to our children or what. The only difference is that in commission type sales, you know, you decide what you're worth based on your efforts and results. In a salary, somebody else has already decided what you're worth. And that really struck home to me, and it's been true ever since. If I want a raise, I've got it. If I don't want a raise, I've got it too, but it's my choice.
Good information. Awesome. So, and again, thank you so much for sharing this information with our group. And now we'd allot some time for questions, and here is the contact information of our panelists listed here today. And I'll just remind you, for all of our folks who've attended today, you will get a recording of this session here within the next business day or so. But I did want to definitely share the contact information for Sal, Samantha, and Rob. So if you have any questions related to the sales profession or some of the availabilities that are currently offered within the organizations, I definitely invite you to make connection. But we'll definitely looking. I don't have any questions right now, but yeah, is there any things that you guys would like to share that we hadn't shared already? I'll kind of let you guys take the floor if there's any other little tidbits you might want to share with the group while we're on the line.
Well, I think being in it for 37 years shows the value of being able to work with people and help people. I just cannot see myself retiring. I just absolutely love what I do and love helping people build a business, grow a business, and then subsequently the clients that we help. So you can see it's a long, promising career if you choose to do so.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. One more thing I wanted to add for our folks listening today, we've talked a lot about some of the great opportunities that are available in sales. We also want to let you know about our career launch program. So as you're making your decisions for your next career, whether it's sales or otherwise, we definitely want to be here to provide you with the resource that you need to make that next step. So if you have questions about which direction you want to go, if you need help, drafting a successful resume or cover letter, or even preparing for those interviews, we definitely want to be here to help you with that. So if you have questions about that program, we definitely invite those, and this is our contact information here. So I do have one question from Wesley. What are one of the main steps when beginning a business? Sal, Rob, or Samantha, would you like to tackle that one?
I apologize. Would you phrase the question again? I'm not sure I understood it.
Sure. It's Wesley was asking, what are one of the main steps when beginning a business? So I guess thinking from the entrepreneurial aspect of being in sales, what are some of the first steps to consider?
Oh, that's an excellent question. We work a lot prior to starting on building a solid business plan. And within the business plan, obviously, we're going to talk about the marketing because of the importance of that, but also fiscal management of your money, because it can be very much like Rob said, where you can make a tremendous amount of money in 1 week, one sale, 1 month, but it might be some slow time. So learning how to set your own self up on a budget, learning how to set yourself up on a self-study program, to be able to maximize the hours committed towards the business. So having a business plan that actually is evolved, we look at the business plans collectively every quarter. So developing a strong one, following through, and doing the proper adjustments, I think, are critical.
Great. So keeping that in mind, Rob, would there be anything that you would add to that? Having a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that would be to, and it's just saying it maybe a different way than Sal did, and that is what's really important is that you understand what success looks like to you from the outset. Be very intentional, whatever that business is, be very intentional about designing the business that you want to own, and the one that's going to make you happy and the one that defines success in the way that you want it to be. So, that can look a lot of different ways, and certainly as you're looking at financial services, from what I understand and what Sal said, and from real estate, there are lots of ways that you can create a successful business, but you get to determine what that success really is. Nobody's deciding that for you. So be very intentional about that on the front end. What you don't want to do is jump in and create a business that 2 years later doesn't look like the one you meant to create. So start from the outset very intentional in what you want to do and what success looks like to you, so you're always building towards that.
Great, awesome. We do have another question from Rashad, who asked, what are some of your challenges with time management when you started, and how did you improve in that area? And also he asked, as far as the art of selling, how did you develop, and were there any books or trainings that you used as far as that was concerned? So we'll start with the time management. How would you address time management?
I'll start. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I think it's a process that I use called time blocking, where you literally sit down and say, okay, here's how much time a day I really need to be doing these things. Again, I want you to be intentional about the business you're creating. So here's how much time I'm going to spend on this, and here's how much time and you literally schedule your day and make yourself stay on that schedule. It's so easy, certainly in residential real estate, because there's not an office where people are looking for you to show up at necessarily, or a boss that's looking for you. It's super easy to sit at home and watch Family Feud and dream about the business that you'd like to build. But the only way that it's really going to happen is for you to get yourself on a schedule, to go through those things, whatever business that is, go through those things that they tell you successful people do on a consistent basis, put them on a schedule and stick to that schedule. And that's been the biggest key for me, as one, for myself, and then two, as I help other agents launch their businesses, to get to time block and absolutely hold yourself to the fire on doing those activities at that time, just like you scheduled them.
Great. So I think you were going to make a comment on that as far as time management.
Yeah, we also utilize the block time management that Rob referred to. The only other things I could add is, number one, people are creatures of habit. So, I may not know who I'm going to see on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, but I have that in my schedule where I'm going to be seeing somebody Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and I'm going to be doing case preps, Monday at 2 or 3. So creating a semblance of repetition and habit helps a lot. And the secondary thing is not only do you adhere to your block time management, but you also map out the day. I look at my day every morning, map out what I'm going to do throughout that day. It's funny how your mind gets trained to switch, from your 9 o'clock, activity to your 10 o'clock activity when you get in the habit of it. And then lastly, I keep a journal where I review my day and review my week. And little by little, you start seeing what kind of obstacles or challenges may be preventing you from doing the things that you need.
Good info. Samantha, any additional information you would provide as far as time management goes for your sales staff?
I think a lot of it is just it's different, obviously, on the retail side of things because it is more of the business inside a business versus having your own outside. But it's just being there, being present, being there, not just physically. And then, I mean, the time blocking kind of works a little bit in the retail environment as well. It gives you a chance to do the follow-up and everything. But a lot of ours is going to be helping customers as they walk in. So it's kind of just being able to multitask.
Sounds good. So the other question that he asked I thought was very interesting refers to the art of selling and how that was developed. So if you could each give a little insight as to how you hone that skill. I know we talked about a lot of the competencies, but maybe there is that impression that there is a special skill that is applied with being a successful salesperson. Sal, can you speak to that?
Yes. First of all, I believe the art of selling is more the art of listening. If I can understand clearly what the potential client needs and what they're trying to accomplish, then it's not really a sale when I show them solutions to their problems. So it goes back to the need of good communication, but really good listening.
I agree with that. Samantha, what would you recommend in that area?
I don't necessarily have anything to add on that side of it. I think he worded it pretty well.
Okay. Rob, would you, as far as the art of selling, any additional information you could provide there?
No, I think I'm just going to reinforce what Sal said because I think it really is the most important part. When people think about getting into sales or they picture salespeople, they think about tricky scripts and closing lines, and I mean you see it in the movies. There's a million books that you can buy that go through that process. It's really about understanding, taking the time to listen, understanding, and then working towards a resolution. I think Sal said it. If you have listened correctly and it's not about having a great script, or it's not about having a killer closing line that gets you the deal every time. It really is about effectively listening and working towards that solution. So it's all about refining your communication skills and your listening skills, and the sales stuff happens naturally.
Great. So one more question, and this is regarding continuing education. So would there be any additional education, both either personal or professional, that would be required or recommended? And this comes from Aaron. Rob, I'll start with you. Any answer there?
I don't think so. There's nothing really that you need to do to prepare yourself. Again, back to those communication skills, the listening skills. The rest of the stuff happens in real estate school that you need to know legally, and your brokerage is going to be prepared to help you out to get established. And there are support people within every brokerage that their job is to walk you through that process and help you through the legal things and the things that you need to know. So just be there, be present, and know what kind of business you want to create. Know what success looks like to you so they can help you get there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sal, what would you say to that as far as any additional or further education?
Yeah, I heard it as continuing education. We absolutely have continuing education requirements in all the product lines as far as the licensing. So, education to us is an ongoing process. The industry evolves too much, the products change, and so by circumstance, continuing ed is something that everyone has to do all the time.
All right. And Samantha?
Well, I'd say that like actual school education, there's not much. I mean, once you get in the door and as long as you have that high school diploma or GED for the sales side of things, but continue education as far as the product, absolutely. And that's going to be an ongoing thing every day, every week, every month. You know, you're continually going to be researching product, or something will come up, a customer will ask you a question and you don't know the answer to. So you're going to be maintaining that product knowledge every day.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, that does it for our questions. And again, if you have any additional questions that come up after this broadcast, I definitely invite you either to send them to me directly, or you can connect directly with one of our panelists. And again, their information will be shared along with the recording that will come shortly after this presentation. But again, I want to thank Sal Lavely with Prudential, Samantha Marion with Nebraska Furniture Mart, and Robb Murry with Chartwell Kansas City Realty for joining us today. And we look forward to you joining us again for our next webinar coming up in May, where we'll talk a little bit more about the full career planning process. But we'll go ahead and adjourn for today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.